educating you on why they are so important in their ecosystems and simulating some of their natural hunting behaviors. Now for our first guest, she likes to hunt fast-moving ground prey, so we are going to simulate that by having a lure pull across the field that she is going to chase. But to get her out, I'm going to need your help. When I give you guys the signal, can you help me count down from 3 and then yell fly as loud as you can? Are you guys ready? 3, 2, 1, fly! Now here comes Ginger. Let's see if she's able to grab her lure. Here she comes, and she's got it. Now you might recognize Ginger here because she's actually a red-tailed hawk, which is the most common bird of prey here in Ontario. They can actually be found all across Canada in every province and territory. Now they do get their name because of that very pretty red tail, but they actually don't get this coloring till they're about 3 years old. Up until then, they actually have a light colored tail with some dark bars going across it. Now these birds are actually what we call opportunistic hunters, meaning they are going to eat anything they can get to those sharp talons on. So this includes the fast-moving ground prey I talked about earlier, so things like rabbits and squirrels, as well as chipmunks and rats, but they'll also eat things that have already died. So you may see them on the side of the road having a nice tasty snack of some roadkill. If you do, make sure to give them lots of space because unfortunately these birds do tend to become roadkill themselves. But a fun fact about them is if you're listening to a movie or TV show and you hear the sound of a bald eagle, I hate to break it to you, that's not actually what a bald eagle sounds like. A bald eagle actually has a very high-pitched scream. They actually sound very similar to a seagull. So what they have done in movies is they've replaced the sound with a red-tailed hawk, which is what Ginger was here because they have a bit lower pitched scream that's a little more intimidating. Now for our next guest, it is a very well-known species. So if you know the next species, I want you guys to yell it out as loud as you can. She'll be coming out right there on the field. Does anyone know? So it's a little bit of a trick question. She is actually a bald eagle. Now she is only 2 years old, so she doesn't have her proper coloring yet. Now bald eagles are one of 2 eagle species we have here in Canada, the other being the golden eagle that we actually have one right out there. Now these birds are often found around bodies of water. You can find them around lakes and ponds as well as streams and rivers, and that is because they are incredible fishermen, just like Rowan is going to show us here. And she's got it. Now these birds are actually able to carry more than their own body weight with those sharp talons of theirs, but sometimes that fish is a little too heavy, so what these birds have learned how to do is swim. So they're going to take those nice long big wings that Rowan is showing us and use them like a paddle and actually swim all the way back to shore with that nice juicy fish in their talons. Now they do get to their name because of that iconic white head, but as you can see, Rowan doesn't actually have that. And that is because she's only 2 years old, and she looks very similar to a golden eagle right now, which actually aren't golden like a snitch, but actually a dark brown. But as she gets older, she is going to molt out those juvenile feathers and get the nice white ones. But unfortunately, these birds don't have a great history. In 1978, they were put on the endangered species list due to a pesticide called DDT. Now, DDT was used all across North America. It didn't affect them specifically, but it affected their prey. So it went up in the food chain to the food that they ate and meant they weren't able to digest any of the calcium from it. Now, you and I need calcium to make sure our bones are nice and strong, but birds need calcium to make the shell of their egg. This unfortunately meant that it was incredibly brittle. So when Mom and Dad were sitting on top of that egg, making sure it was staying nice and warm so that baby could hatch, they were unfortunately crushing it. Now as the older generations were dying off, they didn't have any newer ones to replace it. But DDT is now illegal in all of North America, and due to conservation efforts, a lot like what we did here at African Lion Safari, these birds have made a full recovery. As of a few years ago, they've officially been taken off the endangered species list and are able to be found in every location they were found before, which is absolutely incredible. Now, a fun fact about these birds is they actually have a very cool courtship routine. Now, instead of just going up to one another saying hi, being like, do you want to mate, they will actually go all the way up into the sky and lock their talons together and plummet down to the ground as fast as they can. We're not exactly sure what it means and which ones are trustworthy and which ones aren't, but at some point they decide which male they like and they'll go and have babies and they will mate for life. Now, as you guys have walked around our facility, you might have noticed that we have a lot of pairs. And that is because we have a pretty extensive breeding program here. And with breeding programs come lots and lots of babies. So our next guest is going to answer the age-old question, where do babies come from? And that is with Blanco, our European white stork. Now, as their name suggests, they do have their nesting lands in Europe, but they make a 9-month migration every single year down to Africa and back again. This could possibly coincide with a human pregnancy, thus giving the illusion that they are the bringer of human babies. Now, if you get a good look at him, you can see he has some nice white feathers like Dumbledore's beard and some nice long orange legs. This is because he is a wading bird, meaning he is actually going to go into the water and he's going to spear his prey with that nice long bill of theirs. They tend to eat mostly fish and amphibians, but will also take a nice crustacean. Now, these birds are known to bring good luck and fertility if they create a nest on top of your home. But as you can see, he is a very, very large bird. That means he's going to come with a rather large nest. Their nest can actually weigh up to a ton. So if you are superstitious, this may be something you would like to encourage, but you might be doing some renovations afterwards. Now for our next guest, I believe we have some volunteers with volunteer cards. If you guys want to come on down, you can hand in that card and come onto the field. Perfect, amazing job, guys. Once you're on the field, just stay nice and close to me. Perfect. There we go. Have a couple more coming. Amazing. Now you guys are incredibly brave because I have not even told you who you'll be going up against. But I'm going to keep that a little bit of a secret. Do you guys see that rock wall at the end of the field there? So when I say go, I need you all to run as fast as you possibly can and then wait there for more instructions. Are you guys ready? On your mark, get set, and where are you going? Go! Good job, guys. Amazing. You guys are incredibly speedy. Definitely going to be hard for our next guest to beat. Amazing. Now today you guys are actually going to be racing against our black vultures. So if you look across the field, you'll see Murphy and Kirby. Now it may seem silly to have kids racing against such a fast bird in the sky, but these birds are actually scavengers, so they spend a lot of their life on the ground. They actually have a flat foot, unlike the rest of the raptors that you've seen today that have a cup-shaped foot. Now we have a few rules before we start. Do you guys see this lovely T-shaped pole right here? Everyone sees it? So this is our finish line. So the first group to tap that with their hand or their wing is the winner. Second, we are going to create an invisible line down this field between me and that pole. You guys are going to stay on this side of the field, and the birds are going to stay on this side. Now the third is the most important rule. Are you guys listening? I need you all to run as fast as you possibly can without tripping and falling. If you do trip, get up really fast. We do not want the birds thinking you're roadkill. I promise they're all safe. Now, who is rooting for our volunteers? What about our black vultures? Quite a bit more for the birds you met 2 seconds ago of your kids, but sounds good. Are you guys ready? Okay, so I'm going to need help from the audience. Can you help me count down from 3? Ready? 3, 2, 1, go! There we go. Let's see. It's looking pretty close. Here we go. Definitely looks like our volunteers are winning that one. Amazing job, guys. Round of applause for our volunteers. They did incredible. Perfect. You can head on back to your friends and family now. Amazing job. You're officially able to brag and say you're faster than a black vulture. They do only have 6-inch legs, so they try their best. Now, the reason we have kids race against our vultures is because, unfortunately, these birds don't have a great reputation. Because they eat dead things, they're known to be disgusting, ugly creatures, but they're actually so important to our ecosystem. Now, these birds have incredibly strong stomach acid, so they're able to break down things like bacteria and viruses like rabies and anthrax. This is stuff that can really harm us, even possibly kill us. Now, in India and Africa right now, they're actually experiencing a vulture shortage. They have lost 99.5% of their vultures in the past 10 years. This has cost them over $3.5 billion and 50,000 human deaths. There's a direct correlation to the amount of deaths due to virus, amount of vultures that live in that area. Now, we are incredibly lucky. We have so many native turkey vultures. You might have seen a few flying over there before the show started, or maybe even above the highway on your way here. So next time you see one, make sure to give it a nice big wave and say thank you for keeping me safe. Now for our next guest, he is